All right. If there are no questions, I'll quickly cover one or two terms. First one is very interesting. MVP. How many of you know what is an MVP? Don't tell me the full form. Just tell me what an MVP is. Yes, Chinmay.
The minimum viable product can be like any while building any product. We first pick up some features of the product that we consider should be the minimum criteria that we can use to open to the public and take some review on those products, those features, and then start developing other features.
Right. So it is a basic version you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, that is correct. That is that is correct. So you can talk about using minimum resources. You can talk about building very few features initially, and building a very basic version of a product. That is an MVP. And the definition, the full form also tells you the same. It is the minimum viable product. So it has very limited functionality, minimum use, but it has been built using minimum time, effort, energy, and resources. So basically, that is an MVP. A very interesting example is this: with no money to build a business, the founders of Airbnb use their own apartment to validate their idea and create a market offering short-term peer-to-peer. This is basically the rental housing platform, right? Airbnb, everyone knows. So they built a short-term peer-to-peer renter housing online. Facebook is another example. So Mark Zuckerberg launched the social media platform within Harvard initially, right? That was his MVP, and then he went on and launched it across the globe. So that is an example. They created a minimalist website, published photos and other details about their property, and found several paying guests almost immediately. So this helped them validate their idea, right? Whether they were thinking on the right lines, whether their idea was actually implementable. I'm not sure if implementable is a word, but yeah, you get the gist. So basically, we talk about understanding whether our idea will actually survive in the real world. That is why we build an MVP. Okay. Answer this question. Which one of these two is an MVP?
The town one. Is this is regarding transportation, right? So
yeah, I mean,
like
just
a cab service like that. You
no,
can.
no, not all of that. So let's say I want to build a car. How would I go? How should I go about building that? Right. The best way is to go through an MVP. First build an MVP, then go about building a car. So tell me which one is better. First one is better for building a car or second one?
Then building a car, I guess first one is better.
We want to build, okay. Okay, let me launch a poll. That would make things slightly more interesting. So I want to make this car. I want to build this car from scratch. Right. Tell me whether I should choose the first option or the second option. Second method of building the car. I've launched the poll. Please go ahead and answer. This is a very famous question, by the way. All right. I'm about to close the poll. I want more people to respond. So we have about 125 people. I want more people to respond. All right. I've made the results visible to everyone. So most people say, about 30 people say that the second one is how we should go about building the car. and about 20 people say that the first method is better to build a car. So the correct answer is the second one, because first we are building an MVP. Now we talked about the agile and the lean methodologies yesterday. What we do here is first we build this minimum viable product, a very basic version which just has two wheels. Now what is the problem? Now again, whenever we talk about product management, think from the very basic. So what is the customer problem that we are addressing? The customer wants to go from one place to another. That is the
Fast
problem we want to
mobility,
address.
moving.
Mobility, yes. So mobility is the basic problem that we are addressing. And for that, we want to build a minimum viable product first. We'll build this scooty kind of thing, and then we'll talk to people. We'll talk to customers. We'll get feedback. They'll say, no, this is not very good. This is very basic, and we just want this is, at least this satisfies our objective, but we want something better. We'll say no problem. At least this satisfies your objective. We'll try to make this better. Then we move on to the cycle part. We move on to build a cycle. Now this might require more effort, time and energy. We'll have to, completely dismantle this and build this from scratch again. But at least we know the customer feedback is helping us throughout the way. And we know that what exactly the customer requires. We constantly have in mind the customer requirements. That is extremely important in building a product in product management. So we move to this second phase, then we move to the third phase, and then the customer becomes slightly happy here. He says that this is good, but I want more safety. And this is where the fourth step is, where the customer is extremely happy. Right. Now let's consider the first one. At this stage, the customer will be very sad. He'll say that this is not useful at all. Here again, he'll be sad. He'll say that this is not what I wanted, but yeah, this starts to satisfy my objectives. And this again is of no. Now moving from 2 to 3, there's no difference actually, right? Here also the person is going from one place to another. Here also is going from one place to another. So this makes no sense at all. We should keep the customer objectives in mind at all stages, and then finally we reach this stage. But let's say after we reach this stage, the customer says that no, this is not what I wanted. Then what will you do, right? The entire effort, all the 2 months, 2 years, 20 years of building that product will go waste. But if you take the customer feedback at every stage, then you will never, that time effort will never go waste. At every stage, you are building the product with the customer. The customer is with you in the product building journey. So I think you understand this question now. So the second one is the correct answer. This is MVP. This is not it. Can we say that product 1 is MVP for product 2? Product 2 is MVP for 3 and so on. That is possible, but we are just talking about the final product is this that we want to build, and this is the MVP for that product. Right, so that is what we want to discuss here. So yes, there can be, so in a product life cycle, there cannot be multiple MVPs actually. There can be version 1 of the MVP, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, something like that is possible. But we usually have just one MVP. Now, the example that you have given, Rishabh, the product is changing every time, right? But if we consider this life cycle, the product is this, the final product is this, and this is the MVP for that product. If the final product was this, then this can be the MVP for that product. Or even this can be the MVP for that product. So depends on the final product that you want to build. So MVP is the minimum viable product. So even if you want to build this should be your MVP, right? Because this is the most basic version of the product. All right. I think the MVP concept is clear now. Everyone must have understood the MVP concept. Any questions still here? All right. We'll quickly cover one more thing. What is the difference between a customer and a user? Can anyone tell me what's the difference as per your understanding?
And we say a user is someone who just looks at the product on Amazon and the customer is the one who buys.
Correct. So when we talk about a customer, he's a paying user. For example, YouTube premium buyers, they pay YouTube for they pay YouTube for displaying ads. So they don't have ads, right? So they pay YouTube for not displaying ads, basically. And then users are everyone is a user, basically. I am a user of Uber, Ola, Slice, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, but I'm not a customer of all of these applications. So that is I'm a user, basically. I engage with the product, use the product, and I am a potential customer, of course. I might start paying Instagram at some point of time in order to create something, buy something, build something. That is there. And a normal YouTube user is the best example. So that is the difference between a customer and a user. One more concept. Have you heard about MECE?
Yes.
What does this mean?
Mutually exclusive, and I don't know what C stands for, but E stands for exhaustive.
Collectively exhaustive. Yeah. So MECE is a framework that is widely used in consulting. So we'll just try to understand what it is. We'll not be using it a lot, but we just need to understand. So MECE means mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So let's say you want to cover a lot of things. You want to, even if you want to build something, then you need to be very sure that some of your that whatever you are building, the features that you are building, they are identifying separate sets of users, but they are together, targeting them together, satisfying the needs of everyone. Or let me take an even better example. I'll take a consulting example. Let's say I want to build a PPT, right? I would just want to talk about the digital divide in India, right? So when I do the research, I should take care that I am building a slide that is that covers everything, and all the slides individually are mutually exclusive of each other. There should be no overlap between the content of two slides. That is mutually exclusive. And collectively exhaustive means that I'm covering the entire topic, the entire length and breadth of the topic. So that is MECE. 5 ways to be MECE is the most common one is opposite words, right? For example, supply and demand. These are opposite words. Now, when I talk about a problem, I may look at it from a supply and a demand perspective. That would be, first of all, that would be mutually exclusive. And second, that would be collectively exhaustive. That would cover the entire space. Second is segmentations. I can segment based on age. Now, age is a very good example. 18 to 22 years of age is one bracket, and 22 onwards is another bracket. So these two brackets are mutually exclusive of each other. And if I consider all the age groups, children, then teenagers, then adults, and then finally old people, so I'll build that completely exhaustive part also. I'll cover I'll be very exhaustive in my solution. So that is segmentation. Then we have some conceptual frameworks and other types of structures like process structures and algebra frameworks. You don't need to go through all of this. Algebra structures can be plus and minus kind of a thing. So let's say internal plus external. This is an example of opposite words, but algebra structure can be let's say you want to cover the inside of something as well as the outside of something. So inside plus outside means the entire sample space. So that is an example of an algebra structure. This is helpful for being mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. All these things are helpful for that. So when, for example, you're talking about user journey mapping in product management, you're talking about user personas. So you need to be mutually exclusive. You need to be sure that the set of users you are targeting, the brackets that you create or the segments that you create, they are mutually exclusive of each other. And second, they are collectively exhaustive. You don't want to miss out any crucial customer, right? You don't want to miss out, let's say, Netflix is very important even for teenagers, because there's a large population of teenagers watching Netflix. So Netflix would not want to miss out on these huge set of customers, this huge group of paying customers. So that is mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So any questions till now?